I want to welcome you to our second episode of Streetbeefs Live. My name is Daniel, and I am the host of the show and creator of Heart in the Fight. This show is being virtually produced by my esteemed colleague, Tunde. If this is your first time watching the show, we are a co-created program between Streetbeefs and Heart in the Fight, where we invite Streetbeefs branch leaders and fighters after a fight event to provide us with their reflections, also their insights on what transpired throughout the day and what they learned and will employ in their next fight episode or the next fight event. So before we jump into the show, I want to make sure that to remind you that please like this video, follow Streetbeefs and their affiliates on Facebook, on TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, and certainly subscribe to this YouTube channel to get access to future content. Yesterday, Saturday, March 20th, Streetbeefs West Coast 7 went down in Las Vegas in the Sandbox. And there were some newcomers that were invited to the event, as well as some very familiar names like Darkness, $1 Million Hands, Mr. Silas, Free Smoke, and others. But one fight many were keeping an eye on was Golden Arms versus 619. And these were light heavyweights who are pretty much contending for the belt. The Canadian, who is the champion of the West Coast branch, the light heavyweight division, that's who they want to go for. And so they had about yesterday to figure out who is the number one fighter, who will contend for that belt. Now, before we bring them on, right? And so before we bring on those fighters to give the reflections of their fight, right? For those who got to see the video drop earlier on the YouTube channel, where you saw that Golden Arms was on the losing end of a decision versus the victor 619. However, we did see that there was a lot of controversy. There was a lot of commentary. And so what we want to do is bring them on, have them talk about it, because what I've been told, those who were there present said that 619 clearly won it. However, when you look at the video, it paints a different picture. I'm not saying that Golden Arms won. What I'm saying is it certainly is a lot closer than what it seemed like, I guess, when you saw it live. And so we brought both of those fighters on so that they can have this discussion. We can figure it out, what happened, right? And what are some lessons that they learned going into their next bout. But before we do that, I certainly want to give some announcements. So let me share a few quick ones. So one, the lightweight title match at the OGR between Beach and Turk was postponed to April 3rd. That is a huge fight. The winner will be crowned the champ of the division, right? They will be taking the belt that Rico left behind once he went pro. So you definitely do not want to miss that. And so certainly make sure you're following the content closely so that you can watch the live when it's up, or you can show up at the event to see it live. So, and then secondly, here's our second announcement, is if you watch any of the new videos uploaded from the Boxing Mixer yesterday, there was a tag team boxing match. And I really love the concept because I can't count the times I've heard someone say, I would love to get in the yard, or one day I want to be in the yard, but I really only got like one round in me. Well, if that is you and you're still trying to work out your conditioning, and I know it's a process, I know it takes a while and it takes time, it takes commitment, but if this might be a great opportunity for you, you don't have to fight all 3 rounds. You have a partner that you can tag in, right? So once you get tired, you're like, all right, let me tag in my partner. And so if I were you, make sure you're following that closely. Check it out when the signups come around in the Streetbeefs Facebook group. So make sure that you're active. Make sure when those signups go up, you put your name down and say, hey, I want to tag team. I want to get one good round in. And I'm pretty sure everyone else wants to see that one good round. And so, and I think what's also going to come into play is who are you going to choose to be your partner? I mean, I don't know what the process is. It could be that they choose a partner for you, but if you want to be strategic here, you might want to think about who your partner is before going to the show or going to the event. All right. And then lastly, we have our third announcement. And so last weekend, like I said, I'm the creator of Heart in the Fight. So Heart in the Fight, we hosted a debate with Street Beefs fighters to identify the top 5 heavyweights in Street Beefs, regardless of discipline, which got a pretty good response from the Street Beefs fighting community. Right, the Facebook comments were on fire. But as we were stirring the pot a little bit, right, what came out of it was a fight between Cornflake, the heavyweight champion, and the Heart in the Fight #1 ranked heavyweight, will be defending his belt against the 20-2 top heavyweight contender, Neutral Corner's very own Gorilla, on May 1st. All right, so Heart in the Fight got a chance to interview Gorilla recently, and he gives us thoughts about the upcoming fight with Cornflake, but also about the rankings that came out of this debate. I think it's always important to understand is that, yes, this is a matter of opinion, right? But we had fighters who set up criteria on how they were going to determine who was going to be in their top 5. And, you know, I'm glad that some people like the list. And if you really want to listen to Gorilla's interpretations of the list and his thoughts on the list, certainly tune in for that show on Monday. All right. I want to thank you for joining us, and I want to welcome you to Street Beefs Live.
Fight! Got us a title fight.
WA, how you doing, my man?
Good. How you doing? Can you hear me?
Good, brother. Good. Yes, I can hear you clearly. You're coming in. And so before we begin to talk about what happened at Street Beef 7, I would love for you to give a brief intro about yourself and the ways that you actually participate at Street Beefs West Coast, because people don't actually know that, yes, you're a fighter on one hand, but the other hand, you help coordinate some of the things that happen at these events. And so I would love for you to give a quick, brief intro on who you are, but also what are your responsibilities and duties when it comes to these fight events.
I joined the Facebook group, Street Beefs Facebook group, a while ago. Saw that there was a guy named Martin Rubio who was going to fight somebody a foot taller than him. And that kid was from Vegas. And I was like, I'm going to reach out to this guy. He may need some help with this one. And so got in touch with him. Started following Street Beefs when Face came out here. Got to fight on it, which was something I always wanted to do. I'm 49 years old, 50 now. That was 49 then, 50 now. And third final round of life. So it's kind of something I've always enjoyed the fight sports training. This is an opportunity for me to fight. But I got with Martin, met Alex, and I just volunteered myself to help wherever I need. And so when I show up to these events, I try to talk to people, make everybody feel welcome. I help weigh people in, get people signed up. I help Martin and Alex. Sometimes I give input on matchups and that type of thing, and try to, since they have limited access to the events, we try to funnel out the people that we know will know that are part of this community that we call Street Beefs, where it's more than 3 2-minute rounds. And our events, I like to call them their picnics, family picnics, where you're going to get punched in the face most likely, and you're cool with that. So you approach it, and I'm kind of the goodwill ambassador kind of person there. I just try to meet everybody and do whatever I can to help.
Awesome. And in terms of matchmaking, I know that this particular branch is very particular on who actually shows up. And so all your events are private, and fighters don't actually can fight unless they're invited to the show. And so how do you make those determinations on who gets to get into a show, how you're matching them up? I would love for you to give some insight to those who are looking from afar.
It's interesting. It's kind of evolved since the Street Beefs West Coast one. It's kind of Street Beefs West Coast one. We had a lot of people we selected, but then there was people that showed up and they kind of got involved, and it's kind of a what Alex and Martin seem to be looking at, and what we kind of see is on the Facebook group, people that are involved on the Facebook group. Obviously, we want to give them a chance. If they're involved in the Facebook group, they're obviously a Street Beef, and so we want the fans like us have the chance to participate if they want to. We've been to some events where people have participated and they weren't even sure. They asked me where the fights get posted to, and I was kind of like, hey, kind of. But we try to get the guys and the people, guys and girls that are fans, is the number one thing. And then we try to go from there. We try to figure out what level they are, and so we're matching up people that we want it. It's not always perfect, but we try to get people matched up. If they're beginning, we try to match them up with the beginner. And sometimes that doesn't work when there's two 0-0 fighters. We just don't know. And so then as events go on, then we try to match up the 0-2s and the 0-1s with the 0-1s and 0-2s, or we try to just get it matched up as best we can, and it's not always perfect, but the first thing we look at is fan, and then we try to evaluate where they're at in their journey, is their fighting journey, and try to get them a matchup that is something that's going to be challenging but not overwhelming, is essentially what we try to do.
Awesome. That's good to know. That's good to know. And how do you weigh in when the fight community starts advocating for certain fights, right? Because I know that folks are opinionated and they say, hey, I think this fighter will be good with this fighter. And do you consider those kind of matchups? Or is there a system that you have internally that kind of determines whether or not that will be a good matchup?
I think it's kind of from my conversations with Alex and Martin, that if somebody brings something up and Alex and Martin, they bring it up to each other, and I'm kind of have a three-way chat, and I just I kind of give my input too. But yeah, a lot of it, like, again, it's fans. So if there's on the Facebook group and they're active and people are like, hey, this guy and this guy, they need to fight. They're both in the group. Oh, we all love them. We want to see them fight. And if they're both cool with it, then usually that's just how it happens. It's good. Everybody wants to see it. They want to see it. We do it.
All right. So you heard that here, right? So if you want to fight, and especially if you see two fighters that you love, that will be a really great matchup, you might want to, shout them out and make sure that it's known so that, they can potentially come to fruition.
Yeah.
And so that's good to know, right? Is that the branch is being really responsive to the community, it's listening, and so that it can inform other events in the future. So that's good to know.
That's definitely, Mark, like I said, we're all fans. We're all fans. So that's what we want to see, what the fans want to see.
All right. And so yesterday, event number 7 happened, right? In the Sandbox in Las Vegas. Tell us some of the highlights that happened.
Oh, well, first of all, we had a great opening fights. Our first 3 fights were just bangers. We had some local guys. We actually had 2 Muay Thai matches, which are great because you get all you get all the striking elements of MMA, but it never goes to the ground. And the bigger gloves, but it just never goes to the ground. And those fights were awesome. Had the 619 and Golden Arms, which was a great fight. Tough fight to even understand what's going on and evaluate. And then we had what was the other big fight I'm thinking of? Well, I'm always thinking of my friends. So I got to see Clutch fight. Clutch is a longtime friend. We fought before, and I got to see him fight my other friend, Ugly Boy, and it was just fun watching him fight. And again, the vibe at these events are just amazing. It was just being able to have Unknown come from the OG yard and fight Rain, great fight, awesome fight. That's the fight I was thinking about. Awesome fight. And Unknown is a legend.
Yeah.
Out here in the West Coast, Unknown is a legend. Anybody comes from the OG yard, when Dirty Devil shows up at our yards, everybody's gathering around him, shaking his hand because he's OG. And anybody from OG yard, they automatically get respect, and they get the red carpet rolled out for him. You know, like, we're so excited to see him come participate and join in at our branch, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I love to see when other fighters from different branches come to the West Coast or come to another different branch and fight. Because one, I think it shows that there is connectivity between branches, and that fighters are looking at other avenues and other ways to fight. And so when I heard that Unknown was coming down, I was like, oh, that's awesome. I mean, he is a great fighter from the OG yard, and so I'm glad that he got to participate in the West Coast event. And I saw his post on Facebook that he thoroughly enjoyed it, and so I'm glad y'all welcomed him with open arms and just showed some love.
That's what that's what it's about. We want we have Master Roshi that helps with the events. Master Roshi is a longtime MMA guy. He's done sanction. He has all kinds of fights. He has a fight record. He's pro. At a time, he was pro. We were talking yesterday, and he goes, this for fighting events, you compare this to sanctioned events, a sanctioned event, and he goes, it's not even comparable. We're talking about it. I fought twice in a sanctioned events, and it's not even the same thing. Sanctioned events, you go there, it's tense. Your camp stays with your camp, talks to each other. You don't talk to your opponent. You come to these, everybody's shaking hands, everybody's meeting each other. You talk to your opponent, you go fight, you struggle with your opponent, you're bonded with the opponent. At this fight, you had former guys that fought each other actually cornering each other at these fights. I mean, that happens more than often. Like, former guys that have fought before are actually now coaching each other on their fights as they fight other competitors. It's really just an event to see that. So I was hoping that Unknown would be able to see some of that, and I'm sure it's the same thing in the OG yard. And I was hoping he'd feel just as welcome here as he does in the OG yard.
Yeah, I'm certainly he felt it. I mean, I don't think he would have posted if he didn't. And so I'm glad that branches are just welcoming other fighters from different branches, because I think in the end, it's all Street Beefs. We are all a family. And so we're just extended versions of it. So I'm glad that people are extending themselves to ensure that people feel welcomed, and no matter what fight event you go to. So I know you mentioned that there was a huge fight there at this event number 7 yesterday, 619 versus Golden Arms. Now, I know the 619 got the victory, right? However, when the video dropped this morning, there was a lot of commentary that said that it's a lot closer than what it seemed. And some folks said that they believed the Golden Arms won. And so I know that it's different watching it live than seeing it on video. I know that there's a different impact the way you see things. And so I would love to get your take on that particular fight.
Well, I watched it live, and I just assumed that 619 watching out. Now I watched it on YouTube, and I got to be truthful with you. I kind of got a different vibe from it. That and not that, like, and it's not a definitive. I didn't feel like definitively like, oh, 619 just completely owned that fight. I thought this was a good fight. It was a close fight, but I think 619 got the edge. Now I watched it on YouTube, and I'm like, good fight, excellent fight. I think Golden Arms had the edge. And so those two different perspectives, I can see it's interesting to see that, because like people live at the fight, this is what I felt. I felt like Golden Arms was which he was backing up. He had a shiner. He had a shiner early on. You know, you see that, you're close to him, you're within a foot of him, and you see him breathing heavy, and trying to keep going, and 619 just following him in circles around that ring, around that little cage, and then when you see it on YouTube, you don't really see that. You don't see the visual impact of the condition of Golden Arms versus 619 looking like he just barely stepped in the ring and started fighting 10 seconds ago, from 1 round to 3 rounds. So, but seeing the power shots that Golden Arms got in there, it was a lot closer than I perceived it, and maybe even you might be able. First round, I'm going to watch it on YouTube. I gave first round to 619, second round real close, and then third round, I didn't realize how well Golden Arms did in that third round. So that's kind of my perspective. I'm not a boxing guy. I'm a Muay Thai guy. So generally in Muay Thai, if one person is chasing somebody else, I'm going to give it to the person chasing. The person backing up, I'm not going to give them the victory. But I can see in this is a boxing match. It's not the same thing. I can see where people would call it for Golden Arms.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting moving forward, because this is certainly, that fight was for the title, right? To be able to fight for the title. I know 619 was already scheduled to fight for the title, but because of injury, the Canadian had to drop out.
Yeah.
And so Golden Arms stepped in for the fight. And I know that it determined who will fight the Canadian next. And so it has huge implications here. And so as a branch, how do you resolve that, reconcile that? Is there anything that could be done, or is it just 619 is going to move forward and we'll figure out how to reconcile records, since 619 already had a fight scheduled with the Canadian before this particular fight?
I'm going to say I'll have to defer to Marla. I don't know. I know that's just the.
No, I hear it. It's a very tricky situation, very complex situation, because it's not as easy as saying, hey, we're just going to put both wins on your record, because there's a title on the line, right? And so I know it's a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, well, my inclination would say 619 had a fight lined up with Canadian. Canadian got hurt, so he's staying busy, so he still gets that shot. Okay, if 619 beats Canadian, or whoever wins that fight, I guess you could say Golden Arms, you got the next one out of the winner out of that fight. I mean, I think that might be a good compromise, that both would be. I don't know. That's just my thinking right now. That seems like a 619. Anyways, he's staying. Give him the fight with Canadian. Winner of that fight, Golden Arms gets to get the winner of that fight.
I mean, that seems pretty fair. I mean, again, I think in the end, it's going to boil down to Alex and Martin, and probably a review committee and Scarface and everyone else on the Streetbeefs team to kind of make those determinations moving forward. But I think what it does, it speaks to the dimensions on the way that you perceive fights, right? When you're live, you see certain things that you don't see on video. Certainly in the video, I wasn't there live. I just know what I see when I'm looking at the video. And in the video, it certainly seems like it's a lot closer than the way that it was told to me by someone who was there. And so, so I think this is a really good case study for folks to understand that when you're looking at fights, that it's more complex than what you're seeing on the screen, right? When we're looking at the screen, we're looking at two dimensions. Yeah. When you're in person, you're looking at so much more. Like you said on the video, I didn't know that Golden Arms had a shiner until you said that right now. And I'm like, oh yeah, I can see why that makes a difference in the way that you perceive the fight when you see that live. Oh
yeah, if you look close when he gets up towards the end of the first round, he gets up next to that mouth guard banner. You can see it. It's already starting to swell up. Master Roshi went over, put ice on it, compacted after the first round, so it didn't become an issue. But he had a shine, and like you said, you're a foot away from him up against the cage. It's a totally different perspective on when one guy's struggling for air and another guy isn't. Two guys are fighting, one's breathing really hard, one isn't. Who do you think's winning? That's automatically in your mind. You're thinking, all right, I'm breathing. So it's a different perspective.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I certainly appreciate that. And we have both fighters actually on the show, and they will be coming up next, giving their perspective on what happened. So I certainly appreciate your vantage point from your perspective, because it will inform the way that we think about this fight, the way that we're perceiving this fight, but also how we move forward from this particular fight. So thank you for coming on the show. We certainly appreciate it, and you're more than welcome to come back at a later time.
Well, I appreciate you having me on. I really do. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. All right. So there you have it. It's not as simple as we think it is. So with that, we are going to bring on Golden Arms. What's up, Golden Arms? How you doing, my man?
I'm doing pretty good.
All right. So tell us from your vantage point, right? And so it's clear that from our interaction, you disagreed with the decision. Tell us why.
Even when I was fighting through it, yeah, he did. Like people were talking on there, saying, Golden Arms look, out of air. Yeah, definitely was. I need to work on my cardio, but not at one point did I ever think about quitting on him and not throwing punches. For every punch he was coming in with, I was coming back at him with, 2-3 punches, power shots. Even when I was fighting through the fight at the end of the third round, I said it in my head. I was like, it's a close call. They might call it a draw if I don't win this one, And feeling when they picked up his hand, I was like, whatever, people were favoring him. Don't know exactly what happened, but to me, I feel like watching the fight now again, he really didn't do much. Yeah, he caught me with, can honestly say, in the first round, he did catch me with a good jab. That's the shiner that they're talking about. Yeah, he did catch me with a really good jab, but that was it. He didn't really, hurt me through any of the rounds, other than myself was running out of stamina real quick. But like I said, I was in there to fight, and for every punch he was coming in with, I was coming back. Third round, definitely pushed really hard and was trying to end the fight. Give the fans a good fight. So I did my best, and I feel like it was a close call. Not a clear win for him, a draw for sure, or could have went my way, seeing that I landed more punches than what he did.
So what rounds do you think you won, right? And so it's clear that you think you won the third round. What about the first and second?
I feel like I won second and third round. He did on the first round. He put more pressure. He put pressure through all the rounds, but like I said, he wasn't coming in and attacking. He was just putting his pressure on me, and I feel like every time he was coming in, putting pressure, I was fending him off. Throwing my punches, trying to get him, not letting him come in close to me because I know what he was trying to do. He was trying to come in and attack the body and trying to wear me out, but it didn't happen. So I feel like second and third round were definitely mine.
And then, is there anything that was surprising to you when you fought him?
The guy can take a punch. That was surprising. And another, I've seen his fights. I always said it. He has cardio, but being in there with him, I can see, how a lot of people are saying he looks fresh. He definitely does. Throughout the 3 rounds, he was, he looked more refreshed than I did. He had more air, but like I said, I wasn't. That didn't mean that because I was breathing for air that I was putting my hands down. No, I was still throwing my punches and keeping them away. He never got to come in on me and attack. So.
Yeah, it was clear that you had really good moments, right? The third was certainly a really big moment for you. And I want to say, was it the second round? You had another kind of brawl with him. I don't know if that was the second round or the first
second
round. And so did you think you were close to ending him?
No, not ending him. I definitely rocked him. I could see it, you know. Just, you know, mentality of a boxer. When you're in there and you see someone hurt, you're not going to give it all and then, you know, gas out and not be able to go out for third round. I feel like, you know, I'll keep letting him come in, and I'll keep trying to get him with power punches. And on third round, that's when I said, you know, I need to push a little harder. I need to, you know, throw my combos and let go a little bit. And that's what I did on third round. But second round, yeah, I did rock him. I could see it, and I just wasn't trying to finish it. You know, I was trying to still box and come out for third round.
Yeah, and I also noticed that he was also taunting you. So I don't know if that was part of his game on trying to show that you weren't hurting him, but he was taunting, he was talking to you. So was that ever distracting to you?
No, I knew it was all just a show. He was just trying to, you know, I feel like put a different idea in me, you know, trying to scare me and make me feel like I wasn't doing anything to him. But you know, nobody can just walk into a power punch and say, oh, that didn't do nothing to me. Because even with his jabs, lazy jabs he was giving me, I mean, you know, I felt them. You know, he can hit too. I'm not going to say that he wasn't throwing some good shots at me, but for him to try to taunt me and say, no, I wasn't doing nothing with my power shots. No, yeah, he was getting hurt.
And so what do you want to happen next? So how do you think they should be reconciled?
I like the idea that you said, him fighting easy. I never wanted to fight easy just yet. I wanted to get, you know, 3-4 fights more and then fight him. But as how you said it, let 619 go fight easy, and then from there me fight the next one. Sounded like a good idea, but I also was talking to one of the admins, and they said that I could send it in for rejudging, just give them a breakdown of the rounds. And I kind of feel like that's a good idea too. So I'm gonna try to do that, and if not, then we'll just, like they said, let 619 go on and fight easy and fight Canadian, and then we'll go from there.
All right. And so if that is the case, so it seems like you want dibs for the winner, right? The winner between the Canadian and 619.
Yes.
And so do you think there's going to be, so say if 619 wins and there's a rematch between you and him, what will be different?
Definitely cardio. Coming in and trying to, I know he was pushing. That's going to be my goal for next time. Come in there, stand my ground, or push and throw more punches. I feel like this fight, yeah, I fended it off well. Him coming in and trying to hit me, and I would get him back, you know, with 2-3 punches. For every punch he was throwing, I feel like I was throwing 2-3 more back. But for next fight, I'm gonna work on my cardio harder and come in and throw more punches. You know, push harder from round 1 all the way to round 3.
Well, awesome, man. Well, hopefully it plays out the way you want it to play out, right? 619's a find the Canadian, and you get dibs on the winner. And that I'm certain that the next fight that you have with him is going to be a classic. So I appreciate for you to come on. Did you want to have any last words?
Yes, like you said on YouTube, you know, people aren't favoring 619. It was all golden arms. So yeah, people can say that are watching it live that I was gassing out, but like I said, I didn't once put my hands down and gave up on him. I was there to fight and throw my punches. So watch the fight on YouTube and comment on there. It was a good fight. Let 619 enjoy his victory and move on with the Canadian.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you, man. Appreciate the time. Take care. Have a safe flight back.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, absolutely. Well, there you have it from the challenger. All right, so for him, as you probably heard, is that he wants to run it back but he's not going to get in the way and disrupt 619 from fighting the Canadian, the champion. And so sounds like a good plan. And he also plans to appeal the judging. And so good luck to him. But before, we close out the show, we certainly got to get the always bashful. Sometimes it feels like this dude is so delusional because how confident he is and how controversial he is. But let's welcome the trash talking king from the West, 619.
I'm here. How's the connection? Because I'm in Baja right now. I'm in Rosarito. How is it?
It's a little choppy.
Oh, yeah, this is the best it's going to get, man. We're in Mexico. Oof.
Okay, so did you get to fillet the sole?
I brought the soul. Big Booty she's on the grill right now, taking care of it. It needed a little flavor. It lacked character and flavor, so we had to spice it up and marinate that bitch.
And so let me ask you this. What do you think about the decision? And what do you think about, so first let's think about the decision, and then what do you think about the aftermath, the way that people are challenging the decision afterward?
Yeah, I'm shocked because I was watching Wade, and I think Wade has it down where he said watching it live is completely different from watching it once it's posted. Because live, there was no question I won. I mean, nobody in this corner said, "What? Oh my God, no way!" Like, it was like, "You got that, man. You got that." Everybody came up to me and said that you fucking dominated. You did him dirty. Like, stop talking that shit. Like, everybody was propping me up. Like, fuck, I was embarrassing for him in front of his girl. Fuck, you know what I mean? I was like, well, that's what I do. And the next thing you know, the video pops up and it's like, what? 619 lost, blah blah blah, rematch. Now he's saying, hey, he won after he posted yesterday, good fight, 619. We'll run it back. But man, yeah. Wade was right. Wade said, if you were there like I was watching it and you see a fucking softball eye swollen up from one shot from a jab, his eye swelled up 3 minutes. It took him like 3 minutes. I thought they were going to stop the fight because Master Roshi was icing that bitch down. I'm like, damn, he might not come out. It took him forever to start the second round. And then I bust his nose later on in the fight. We got to stop it again. So I was like, but I let off the gas. Like, Wedo told me kill him. Like, in the third round, I'll finish him. Take his fucking soul back to TJ. And I let off. I was trying to find one big shot. I wanted to sleep him. And for trying to land one big shot, I let it be a close fight. Now we have people saying it should be a draw. I lost. I'm like, oh my. That's what I get for laying off the hood. I didn't go to the body, if you notice. I really didn't go to the body like I normally do. I really wanted to sleep him. And for trying to chase that one big shot, we have controversy, but it's all good. Next time.
Well, he did have two really big moments. And I can see why when you look at the video, especially in the third round, like granted, I saw some of them were blocked, but there were a few that really hit you, right?
Yeah,
and had you backpedaling. And so I would love for you to even, like, how do you reconcile that?
Yeah, I remember being so mad because afterwards everybody's like, man, why'd you let him catch you like that in the third? We thought you were going to kill him because everybody's like, finish him in the third like you always do. I was like, oh, yeah, it's coming. But instead of going to the body and piecing him up, I was trying to find one big shot, and he got lucky and clubbed me. And yeah, he has studied power, not power to make me go, oh my God, and then back up and clinch. I'll never do that, but it's like studying power. And a lot of those shots are in the back of the fucking head, man. I got a knot behind my ear, not on my face. You know, my face is still luxurious and gorgeous. I never take damage, but I have a knot in the back of my fucking head. I got hit with like, I want to say 3 shots to the back of the dome, like hard. And he hits hard. Golden Arms does have, he has like 30 power. Not enough to make me back up and think twice. The whole time he was getting walked down like everybody does. But yeah, the back of the shots on the back of the head really do daze you. Like they really do like stumble you a little bit. You know what I mean? They're different from like a shot to the nose or the jaw.
Well, I mean, at any point were you hurt by them?
The third round, he did catch me because I was like, I mean, and then he caught me with one. The cleanest shot he got me was like I think a right hook or a left hook, like right on the face. So yeah, that was
Mhm.
yeah, I was still stunned, but am I out of it? Am I gonna take a knee? Am I gonna clinch? Am I gonna go back? Nope. I mean, right after that little onslaught he had, you see me go, all right, what else? You know, but that's all he has. He has a little fury of punches. He would throw a fury of punches to keep me off, but then I go right back to stalking and stalking. It's really, if you were there, everybody said, I was embarrassing. And maybe when you watch it on film, on YouTube, it's like, oh, even I said, oh shit, it is close. 2-1. I give myself the first and the second, him the third. But yeah, that's my fault. That's only because I took my foot off the gas.
Okay. And do you have a problem with him appealing the decision?
Yeah, that's dumb. Like, take your L. Like, you weren't appealing after my hand got raised. You came up and gave me dabs and said, you got me, blah, blah, blah. You know, he left looking like Frankenstein, eyes swollen, nose leaking. Like, me and Weddle went to Cabo Wabo and, you know, gained that chick. You know what I mean? Shout out to Weddle. That guy is a player. That guy is a chick magnet, man.
All right. And so what's after this? Right. So you get past Golden Arms, which a lot of people thought that maybe, one, it might be too soon for him, but two, that you were risking too much at this time, right? Because you had the fight with the Canadian already booked. And so I think at the beginning, people were like, why would he even take this risk? But now that you've gone past this, right, you've secured the victory. So is the next fight going to be the Canadian, or are you looking elsewhere? Because I know that you've been calling out other people. Okay.
No, Canadian, most def.
And how do you think that's going to play out?
Izzy will get like this. I mean, you got 619, 5-day training camp. Literally, Tank told me Sunday night, hey, if you're going to come, do you want to just kick it or are you trying to fight? And I was like, well, I'm down to fight. I'll bring my gear. He's like, okay, you want Golden Arms? I'm like, oh, yes, please. You've been talking shit. Like, I want him to catch these hands. It was done. And I was never scared. Like, oh, my God, I'm not ready for Golden Arms. Like, I'll fight anybody, anytime. Give me 5 days. Anybody could get it.
Okay. And so Canadian is obviously next. I think the Canadian said that he's coming for the next event. So are you going to be training, or are you going to wait until he shows up?
No, me and Izzy talked about it. We both said if it's in NorCal, we're not going to go. And it looks like they're looking at NorCal because Alex was talking about going to some spot up there by his house. I'm not going to NorCal. I'll go to Vegas or SoCal. And that's it. And Izzy said the same thing. He's like, yeah, I'll wait for Vegas. So unless they announce the next event is back at the cage, okay, cool. I'll train my ass off and we'll beat up Izzy. And I won't let him off the hook. I'll finish Izzy. I'll take his soul.
I mean, you did promise it in this fight, man. So
I did. I was so mad. I didn't go to the body more. I was looking for a headshot. The plan was to box his ass off. The plan was to jab, 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 move, 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 slip, slip, slip. Like, I've been training with pros that are really fast and accurate. So that was the plan. But once I got in there, I was like, man, if I do that, he's going to come out and say he was scared of my power. He didn't want to stand and bang. He didn't walk me down. He was backing up. So once I got in there, I was like, nah, I want to show him that I'm not scared. We're gonna stand and bang, you know?
Yeah. And do you think Golden Arms is probably the most powerful light heavyweight that you fought?
He has a right hand and that's it. He has that Dan Henderson H bomb, you know what I mean? He has that right hand, studying power. He doesn't hit harder than the dude that I train with. My boy, my heavyweight homie, Demolisher, who fought the last event, he's a heavyweight. I'm used to taking his shots. Like, so this was just studying, but the back of the shots on the back of the head, like they do fuck with you a lot. Like, they really like daze you, and then having to recover that quick from being dazed from a headshot to the back of the dome, and not get caught by the other shots is hard. But we'll run it back. Let him get some dubs. Let him fight. MDH is a good fight for him. Let him fight Silas. Like, and then he gets some wins under his belt. He's 1-1. And he's trying to turn this into a draw or something, or a win. Out of your fucking mind. Ask everybody who was at the event live and ask them who won. They're gonna say 619 won. It was embarrassing. He was talking shit. He swelled up his eye. He busted his nose. Like, 619 left clean as hell. I could have fought again.
Well, certainly, I think he's going to appeal the decision, and we'll see.
Stupid.
So you just want him to take the L, even though he thinks he won?
He didn't win though. He came up to me after the fight and said, "The fight, man, you got me, man. You got me, man. You got me." And then cool. Later, man, have a nice, long, quiet trip back to Bakersfield. You know what I mean?
So even after watching the video, you think you still won? You think you still edged it?
Absolutely, 2-1.
So was it the same way internally? So before you watched the video, what do you think the scorecards were?
I knew because obviously I was in the fight. I knew he had caught me with that little flurry, so people were gonna give him the third. But the last punch that lands in that fight before the bell rings and the stop is I landed a beautiful left hook on his face. We can't really see it in the video. It's so fast. It's so different when you're there at the fight. Like everybody said, "Oh, that was nasty with how you did him." You know how you left his face, and then it's like controversy now, appealing fights, trying to overturn it to what? He's gonna try to overturn it to a win for him? That's what he's calling for?
Well, I know that in the past they've done that where it's like you get a win for fighting. So it isn't necessarily like you won the fight, but because it was a draw, they give you a win for fighting.
I'm with Wade. If you were there, 6-1-9-1, now you could be like, close fight. Move on, bro. Move on. Get some dubs up. Move on. There's no shame in losing a 6-1-9. You lost to the greatest light heavyweight in the history of Street Beefs, bro. You know what I mean?
and how did your children do? As you refer to them.
Oh man, Silas is Silas is on that fucking Alistair fucking Overeem fucking juice. That fool swole. He's like 210. He's like, what's up, 619? And I was like, what the fuck happened to you in 2 months? Oh, I've been bulking up. I'm like 210 now. Like Silas looks fucking scary. And MDH looked dope. That fight would say so. I can't wait for that one to come out. That was fucking dope. That was a good fight right there. Slugfest. MDH looked great.
Well, so it seems like the whole family came out with victories, right? So you, the daddy, the papa, came out with a victory, and so did your children. I'm just playing, y'all. So it's clear that a number of y'all got a number of victories.
Yeah,
and so congratulations to you.
Shout out to Golden Arms, man. We'll run it back, man. Get some wins, we'll run it back. But trying to appeal, stop, bro. Come on. Look at his face at the beginning of round 2. You know what I mean? And then you see the beginning of round 3, they gotta stop it because his nose is leaking. Stop it. You didn't win. You didn't hurt me. And then you stunned me with some back of the head. I got a knot right here. And that's it. That's all.
Well, awesome, bro. Do you have anything else to say? Last words?
Easy Campbell, you're next. And then we move on to bigger fish like Gorilla, Venom Black. That's what we're looking at. And then we'll let the lightweight division on the West Coast stack up because there's so many like 2-1, 1-1 fighters right now. So let them stack up. Probably looking at Silas. I'll probably end up fighting Silas again because he's looking amazing. And Golden Arms down the road. He's probably gonna get some wins. Golden Arms is he's good. He lacks cardio and he's not gonna improve his cardio until he gives up all that crazy freaking heavy weight training, you know what I mean? Because all that muscle is what makes him tired, you know what I mean?
All right. And so it seems like you have a heavy agenda, a heavy schedule in front of you, right? So you have Izzy going after Venom Black and Gorilla.
Yeah, Gorilla.
And two, those are 2 legendary fighters too. So
and he's
you got
your
hands
heavyweight. He's a heavyweight. That boy's like 240, 250. I'm 205, 210, soaking wet. Maybe 202 on a good day if I'm training.
Well, we interviewed him yesterday for the Heart in the Fight, and he has some words for you. So make sure you tune in.
Oh, Gorilla?
Gorilla. So make sure you tune in to
cool.
that interview that gets dropped tomorrow.
Yeah. You need to get me and Gorilla on Heart in the Fight so we can both talk that shit. Because he talks shit, man. I didn't know Gorilla talk shit like that. He's dope. I'm a fan.
Word. We'll definitely work on that. Thanks, brother. Thanks for coming on, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, brother.
All right, congrats again. All right, man. Well, there you have it. We have both the challenger and the victor come on, give their sides of the story, give you their vantage point, but we also had someone who was there as a third witness to give you their perspective on this. And so just know that it is complex. There's a lot of things happening when you're watching a fight, but also when you're watching it from YouTube, it's harder to see the small nuances, the small details that impact and inform the way you think about fighting or the way that you will judge a fight. So with that, if you like what you saw, like what you heard, please subscribe to the Street Beefs channel. If you want to sign up for a fight in Virginia, make sure you sign up. They're normally held at the Street Beefs Facebook. If you're in the Hampton, Virginia area, you can sign up at Pound for Pound's Facebook. If you're in the Washington State area, not Washington, D.C., but Washington State, talking about the Pacific Northwest, you can sign up at the Scrapyard Facebook group. And if you're in Arizona area or Las Vegas or even throughout California, you can sign up to the Street Beefs West Coast Facebook. There will be a fight every single month at each branch, and so you will have plenty of opportunities to glove up and test yourself. And the words of the West Coast fighter, Fiji, is that it's within these fights is where you learn the truth about yourself. So with that, remember to always put the guns down and gloves up. Until next time, take care. Appreciate y'all for joining in.
You solve it in the yard and we leave it. Agreed?
Any coward can pull a trigger, but it take a real man to look another man in the eyes, punch him right in the face. 5-star wolf pack. Step in the cage and I'm giving out work. Satan's backyard, you ain't trying to get hurt. I'ma bring the pain, you gon' get it to work.